Notice a good tackle by Parkhurst, almost going to fall for Martinez. Antonov trying to get there. Martinez finishes to give away at the back the opening goal of MLS Cup 2018.
MLS Cup champions Atlanta United in just their second season in Major League Soccer. The forecast today in Atlanta called for showers. Well, they got the one they really wanted. The confetti shower, the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy lifted high above their heads. Arthur Blank in the place he's wanted to be, in the place the Falcons were not yet able to get it. A championship has come to Atlanta. Andrew Wiebe, Matt Doyle, Bobby Warshaw, Kalen Carr. This is your MLS Cup Central post-game show. 2-0 is the final scoreline. Joseph Martinez and Franco Escobar providing the difference against the Portland Timbers here in the 23rd MLS Cup. We have so much coming up for you. Interviews on the field with both sides, all the analysis, of course, all the highlights. Let's start with a big picture thought, guys. Doyle, final whistle blows, you're thinking what?
The big picture, the big player. This was Joseph's night, and he wasn't even that good. He didn't do anything until the goal, but what did I just say? Until the goal. The man who was the MVP in the regular season, who won the Golden Boot, who set a new record for total goals in the singles in regular season, he did it in the playoffs as well. He killed the Red Bulls, he killed NYCFC, and tonight he killed Portland. MLS MVP, MLS Cup MVP, the best single season in league history.
And for a few minutes, or until a few minutes before he scored, you had said, Joseph's having a quiet night, and we looked at each other.
I said more than that. I said, he's having a terrible night.
Right, but we knew it was coming.
Yep.
You knew it was coming with Joseph. And I'll tell you what, there are investors around the league, there are coaches around the league, and there are players around the league saying, oh crap, how do we keep up? What are we going to do with the investment that Atlanta United has made, with the fans that they have, bringing players in, getting academy players, getting free agents, every possible competitive advantage Atlanta United has right now, and there's teams around the league that are saying, we don't know what we're going to do to keep up.
And Bobby, it wasn't just on the field, and tonight was a good example of that. 73,000, another MLS record, and that's become casual here. It's the new normal for Atlanta United, and it still blows my mind. I'm walking down on the pitch before the game with Susanna Collins, and you see Big Boy, Waka Flocka, Steve Smith, the NBA legend, was behind me, and he was like, they were all invested in the match. They all knew about the team. They've been following it throughout. And this is something that's built to last. It's been incredible to see, and you don't always get that trophy at the end of the rainbow, but they got it tonight in Atlanta.
We going to Waffle House?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I need Waffle House.
I've already been twice.
give me some unlimited coffee, please. I need some carbs. Put it right in me. Let's get to the highlights right now. 2-0 Atlanta United, winners in the 23rd MLS Cup. The pregame spectacle, guys, gave me goosebumps.
A lot of shimmer.
tifo.
This is some good tifo,
Oh, yeah.
man.
MLS 3.0. We won't stop. We want more. And they would eventually get more. Now, this was a controversial call. Larry Smabiala starts this game, and we didn't know if he would. Alan Kelly said no PK. He checked. He went to his ear. They stuck with the call. It wouldn't matter in the end. They found a way to get through. What a save there by Attinella.
Yeah, it was a nice save right there. And this is the only shot that Atlanta put on frame for the first 40 minutes of the game. But you saw it came down the left-hand side. Greg Garza was pushing up all night, but they weren't taking risks until this sequence right here. Now, you're seeing the end of it, and Michael Parkhurst made a spectacular play, and Joseph poached a goal. But this came after an overlap from Leandro Gonzalez-Perez. At some point, to break a good defense open, you have to take a risk. They did, and then they pressed afterwards. And every time they were pressing, they were creating chances off of it. Eventually, they got the goal.
When you look at these highlights, it was not a barrage of opportunities from Atlanta United. We talked all year. One of the marks of a great team is they have multiple ways to beat you. They can beat you through possession, through pressing. What we saw from Atlanta United was a goal, as you mentioned, from counter-pressing after they lost it deep in Portland's end, and then a set piece. But Atlanta can beat you in every single way possible, and it showed and got them a trophy.
Yeah, and look, this is... We thought set pieces were going to be an advantage for Portland. I thought if they were going to get a result here, they were going to have to dominate on restarts. They obviously did not. Back line of veterans fell asleep on that play. Joseph, and then at the back post, Escobar makes them pay.
Here's what it means, Kalen. Here's what it means. This is it for Atlanta United. This is what they've been chasing. They missed out on that supporter shield. That hurt. Then they had to get it done, and they absolutely did it.
And the man lifting the trophy there, Michael Parkhurst, 5th MLS Cup final.
Finally.
First time getting to lift the trophy. And it seemed fitting almost that he had the play that won the game for the team.
Yeah.
He stepped up and had that timely tackle, got it just right on Ibobasi, goes right to the last person you want if you're a Portland Timbers, Joseph Martinez, who shows his composure and class. It's easy to do that when you've scored 35 times on the season. But Michael Parkhurst made the game-winning play, and he deserves to lift the
And it's
trophy.
funny because we were talking about the match winners in this game, and we thought it would be Almiron and Valeri and Blanco and all that, but it was Parkhurst. I mean, that was the play of the game.
All right, let's go to the man who built all of this. Arthur Blank was with David Goss earlier.
Mr. Blank, quite honestly, what does this moment mean for you?
Well, it means a lot for me personally, but more importantly, it means a great deal for the family of Atlanta, for the family of soccer in North America. It's a great tribute. I mean, this is a good example of the potential of soccer in every major city throughout this great continent. And we have the 8th most attended games in the history of Major League Soccer, 73,000 tonight. And this can be duplicated elsewhere. I have great confidence in Major League Soccer, great confidence in the partners, and we'll thrilled to be here tonight with holding up that cup. It's a great tribute.
It's a great thing for soccer, but for the city, finally a championship.
I know.
How does that feel?
Well, it's been a long time. 1995, when the Braves won the World Series, we came close a couple of years ago with our Atlanta Falcon team in 2016, but this is the first championship since then, and we're looking forward to celebrating tonight, tomorrow, maybe the rest of the week, and then thinking about next year. You know, there is no finish line. We got to constantly get better and constantly compete. So looking forward to that too.
Before we focus on next year, Monday, parade, celebration.
Yeah, right.
You talked about the family you want this club to be. Everyone's going to come out and celebrate. What does that mean?
Well, it means everything. I mean, it's a great, you see the diversity of fans we have in this building. Everybody from A through Z, nobody sits down, everybody stands up. They're into every part of the match, every part of the game. And it's a great tribute to them. It's a great tribute to Atlanta. And it's a great tribute to the sport that can actually create this kind of environment. So we're happy to be a part of it.
You got to hug everyone as they lifted the trophy. Which one stood out the most?
Which player sat out the most?
Which coach?
We gotta love Coach Martino. He did an incredible job for us, and we're going to miss him. But, we have a great group of players here, and you really can't pick out one player because, I gave Joseph the MVP trophy the other day, and I said to him, and he said back to me, he said, this trophy belongs to everybody on the team because it's a team game. And he has opportunities, but everybody creates those opportunities for him. So, Miggy, Joseph, the whole team just played fabulously. It's great.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
You can see what it means for Arthur Blank and this organization. Joseph Martinez, the MVP of the regular season, the MVP of this league's most important game. 35 goals all told for him in 2018. Absolutely incredible. I'm looking right at the striker down here. That's nuts. That's crazy.
I've never seen anything like this. None of us have, of course, but he broke the record casually this season with a little bit of a slump at the end of the season. 27 goals in 25 games. It took 27 was the record before that. It was so difficult to do. He's done it in so many different ways. This one was just sort of pounced upon him, but he does show his composure here just to kind of round out Nella. And then this is what I love too, just the attitude around him to be able to just kind of stunts on it a little bit. And he's got a lot of hardware to show for it. That was onside, by the way. That was a great call by the linesman.
Larry Spabiala does not recover, does not push up in time. We'll get you a screenshot of that very, very soon. There are question marks for this team. Tata Martino is leaving. He will not be back next year. The expectation is that he will be with El Tri, Mexico. There are a lot of questions about Miguel Almiron, maybe Newcastle. There are some questions about Joseph Martinez as well. This team, Arthur Blank says, you can't sit on your laurels. You got to keep pushing. Well, now they have the CCL to look forward to. They have to defend their crown. How do they do it? What did tonight show you that says they can?
They didn't give up a goal from open play in the entire playoffs. So that's number one. Like, we talk about Joseph when they just won, they won by multiple goals against the Red Bulls. They won by multiple goals against NYCFC. They won by multiple goals tonight. But, they're posting zero. So it starts with that back line. I thought Parkhurst was awesome. I thought Gonzalez Perez was maybe the best player in the playoffs. period. And Lorenowicz wasn't great, but he was good enough, and both wingbacks were excellent. So if you have that, and you have Rometty sitting in front of them, and then Brad Guzan, like, we kind of glossed over it, but he makes that save on a Bobasi right after it goes up 1-0 to Atlanta. Like, that was one of the plays of the game as well. So it starts with that. But Miguel Almiron, if Joseph isn't the best player on the team, then Almiron is. And you're losing that guy, and you're losing Tata Martino. They're going to have to get it right. I suggest, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you might want to watch the Copa Libertadores final tomorrow, because there are going to be a couple people involved in that who are going to be here come January.
Matt, I think you're right to point out Guzan, because the most dangerous time is right after you score.
Yeah.
And they needed him to step up in a big way in that moment. And also in the locker room. Parky and Jeff are more guys that kind of let their play talk for themselves, right? But Brad Guzan's been a guy that they've been able to lean on in the locker room to speak up, and has the experience of playing in the Premier League. He was fantastic tonight.
All right, let's go to this interview with Brad Guzan, one of the heroes tonight for Atlanta United.
Congratulations. Brad, have you ever heard this building this loud?
No, it was unbelievable. We knew it wasn't going to be easy at times. These guys in here were unbelievable from the first minute. From the moment we walked across the pitch for our game day strut across the field, it was we knew it was going to be a loud one.
You've talked a lot this year about the belief in this team. Now as the MLS Cup champions, why was that belief so strong this year?
I don't know. It was something about getting in the playoffs, and our mentality changed. We were able to roll up our sleeves and get dirty at times. We played good football at times, and ultimately, can't put your finger on it. It's just unbelievable.
3 clean sheets for you this postseason. What do you make of your own performance back there?
No, the guys in front of me were fantastic. All the credit goes to them. There's not many games I had a few, more than a few shots to deal with, and so, I'll take that all day long. They were awesome.
How does it feel to send Tata Martino out with a title?
Yeah, this is fantastic in every aspect. For him, for us as a team, for us as a club, most importantly probably for the city. This is, to be able to give the city a championship, it's the best feeling.
I saw you pick up Joseph Martinez pretty easily there.
I know, right? Adrenaline's pumping. It was good. It was good.
All right, thanks so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Always a sucker for the kid on the field with the daddy jersey. Brad Guzan stepping up big. The Portland Timbers at times struggled to create chances, especially in the first half. But there was a deluge there where you thought maybe they'll get one back. And Bobasi had this opportunity, the diving save across. But it was not a banner night for King Jabo. What was missing for the Portland Timbers, Bobby?
It's a really complicated question with the Bobasi right now. Because we talk often about the need to get more young domestic players in, but if you watch that game tonight, Bobasi wasn't quite good enough for the Timbers. They needed someone better up top. And I'm not saying that teams shouldn't take a chance with young players, but tonight showed the complicated nature of the question. If you want to win a championship, is he the guy that can do it for you? Maybe he gets you to MLS Cup, but if you're a coach, if you're a GM...
They just did the exact same thing to David Villa, and they did this exact same thing to Bradley Wright Phillips. They eliminated the center forwards in each game that they played against these teams throughout the playoffs. They needed a better game plan. Diego Valeri, who's arguably one of the best 10s this league has ever seen, was non-existent through an hour of this game. At some point, you have to look at the other guys and say, you know what? This starts in midfield.
And if you look at where Bobasi loses the ball in that play, he's almost on top of his own box already. That's how far back Atlanta United had pinned the Portland Timbers. So not a good spot for him to be in. He has the one chance that Guzan makes a good save on, but I don't think you can fault him specifically for the performance.
Let's go now to an interview with Michael Parkhurst. He caught up with Julian Savarese. He made that huge tackle, and he celebrates for the first time an MLS Cup championship.
Michael, as the inaugural captain of this team, to bring a title to this city in just year 2, what does it mean?
It's incredible. I mean, what an amazing journey these 2 years have been. It's something so special, capped off by an amazing night. The fans are just incredible here. The atmosphere was amazing. It's a night that we'll never forget. Atlanta will never forget. 73,000. This city has been so hungry for a title. Is that the loudest you've ever heard it in here? Absolutely. My ears are ringing right now. You couldn't hear anybody on the field. It was incredible. We were tired and they pushed us. Amazing. Manager Tata Martino, you have talked about it, other players have talked about how
veteran or rookie, he has made them a better soccer player. What does he mean to you to send him out with this title?
Yeah, it's special. He's been so good to us. He's been so good to the city and to the club. He's meant so much, and I'm so happy that we can send him out the champion that he is.
And on a final note for you, Mike, it's been a long time coming for you. Was it worth the wait?
Absolutely. I'll never forget tonight.
Right. Mike, thanks so much. Go enjoy with the family. Thank you.
Michael Parkhurst, 5 tries. It took until the 5th to get a championship. It's been since 1995 since Atlanta had a winner. They finally have one. 2 years in, Atlanta United, what they've done has been absolutely incredible. They've got CCL coming up. There's change on the horizon. But this is one of those seasons that I think we will look back at years and years from now and say, wow, what a special year, what a special team, what a special coach. What are they losing now in Tata Martino? What does this mean to Tata Martino, who, by the way, was just as snake-bit as Atlanta in finals? He finally gets one.
Can I tackle that first question, guys? I want to go after the first one. I want to talk about their dominance, because we've talked a lot about whether they were the best team in league history. And yes, they did not win Supporters' Shield. They did not win Open Cup. But when you think about the dominance, just when you watch a team, taking points, taking trophies out, when you watch a team and how good they were at soccer, how much they controlled a game, how much they outplayed the opponents, are Atlanta United not in the top at least 2, even beyond what Toronto FC did last year?
I think you put them in the top 10 or 15. But this was not, this team, like you said, they did not win the Supporters' Shield. They did not even really compete for the U.S. Open Cup. They were great in the playoffs. They really were. They are deserving champions.
They got 69 points. Are you really trying to say that their regular season didn't measure up? Just because the Red Bulls got 71.
They didn't win a trophy,
congratulations.
Andrew. They didn't win a trophy.
Wait, they just won a trophy. We just saw them win
the regular season.
And the most important trophy. So if you can take the Supporters' Shield, you think the Red Bulls are sitting at home right now being like, oh, I'm going to cradle up to my Supporters' Shield. 73,000 saw them win MLS Cup.
No, it's awesome. They are their playoffs were great. They were one of the most entertaining teams, but I can't say they're one of the best teams ever because Toronto won all 3 trophies they played for last year.
But when you watch them play, Matt, when you watch them play, was Toronto as dominant every single week? Were they as exciting, as entertaining for the fans as this Atlanta United
team? Yeah, they scored
was?
more goals. They gave up fewer. They had as many points. They won all 3 trophies, and they were better against playoff teams. Atlanta didn't become good against playoff teams until they decided they were going to be a sit-and-counter team.
Look, the one thing I do think that you can say differentiates this side and this organization from the rest is a shift in the way you approach to building a team, right? They didn't go necessarily after the biggest name American players from abroad who come back or older players to build a team like you have through David Villa or Pirlo or Lampard as other teams have tried. They really changed the model as far as going after young South American designated players who, by the way, were the stars on the night again. Now, I think the real shift is that because of their ambition, they're almost going to be victim of it because they've lost Almiron is going to likely move on to Newcastle, and Tata Martino is likely going to go on to Mexican national team. So I think the next shift is actually that the windows for these teams are actually smaller, and the pressure to win now and have this sort of come to fruition moment that Atlanta United has, the pressure is on these clubs quicker.
Kalen, you mentioned Almiron moving on, guys. I think there's 4 players that really changed the league with their individual presence. The first was obviously David Beckham coming in as the first designated player. The second was Joe Vinco coming in his prime from a Champions League team. The third was Alphonso Davies showing that you can be a homegrown and then move to one of the biggest clubs in the world. And the fourth was Miguel Almiron, a guy who came here and said, I'm coming to Major League Soccer for the specific reason that I am then going to use MLS to move on to one of the bigger clubs in Europe. Almiron joins that top 4 players in league history for changing the way we think about
the league. It's a special moment because Bobby said something I agree with.
By the way,
pretty rarely.
By the way, Almiron didn't just use this as a springboard, which is probably what's going to happen. And by the way, that money will go right back into this club, like Arthur Blank said. He used it to have an incredible experience. Think about what this represents this night, these 2 years for Miguel Almiron. We've seen it over and over and over for him. The emotion that he has for it. That's how you draw players in. It's not just the carrot. It's the emotional side of it, and they gave it to him.
And the scary part is we haven't seen the best of Miguel Almiron yet. He's only going to get better. He's just 24 years old, and he's used MLS to develop. He's been the star of a team now, so when he steps on to maybe a more challenging situation or the next challenge, he's going to be ready for that. But he was immense tonight. I mean, he really set the tone as far as them going in the attack. Even after they got the goal, I was down by the pitch, and he was at the water break telling his team, like, come on, let's go. And if you're a scout here tonight, watching him and looking at that transfer fee, it might have gone up a little bit.
He's brave. That's the thing about him. Like, not every 10 wants to get the ball in those spots where you know you're going to get a chunk taken out of you. But he did it time and time again, providing outlets for his team. It was like they were never trapped because he was always around, making himself available. Yep. He's a great player, and I hope he's good for Newcastle.
Yeah, look, it's all about the stars for Atlanta, but that's not all they have. Top to bottom, as we said, they built this roster to compete. Julian Gressel, one of those guys, came through the super draft. He spoke to Jillian Sakovic a little bit earlier.
Julian, you were drafted by this team less than 2 years ago. Tonight, you're a champion. What does that mean?
It means a lot, and put a lot of work in this, not just me, everybody ever since we got here 2 years ago, and to cap it off after 2 years with a championship. It's a credit to this club, to the fans, to Arthur Blank. It's what they dreamed of and what they made a reality for us. Yeah, we're on the field, but they put in so much work and set us up perfectly, so it's a real credit to them.
Now, you've been in the city of Atlanta, like I said, 2 years. How does it feel, 73,000 people tonight, to bring a title to the city of Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, it feels incredible. You could tell that they're so thirsty and hungry for this final, this title again. And us be the ones to deliver it is absolutely incredible. And yeah, this is it. This is for them. They've, like I said, they've supported us so much. And today again, it's an incredible atmosphere to come into every 2 weeks and play, and it's just so much fun. And this is for them.
You've talked about what Tata Martino has meant to you on and off the field. How has he made you better?
In every way possible. Became a better person. I became a lot better player. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have had him as a coach. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to look back to this being probably the two most important years of my life within my soccer career. And like I said, I'm so grateful for him and to have him here. Yeah, now win this championship after 2 years. This is such a credit to him, and so much, just incredible.
And I'll let you go after this. I heard you have some really special guests in the building tonight. Tell me about that.
Yeah, my family, 9 people from Germany flew out. My brothers are here on the field now. My mom and my other family's up in the stand. My grandpa's here. It's a real special moment to share this with them.
All right, well, go find. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to celebrate with them later.
We'll go find them. Thanks a lot, Julian.
Thank you.
What a special moment for the Gressel family. 9 of 73,019 fans, setting a new attendance record for Major League Soccer, bumping 2002 in Gillette Stadium to the side. What a year. Arthur Blank said it. 8 record attendances, the top 8 in Major League Soccer. It's not just about attendance. That's nice. It's a big number. It's about the number 1 championship, won since 1995. This means everything to this city, and we haven't really talked about it yet. Monday is going to be lit. But by the way, we have Tata Martino live right now, so let's head to the Atlanta United presser.
Bueno, una con Barcelona, que por ahí la voy a contar porque si no es como que no hubiera ganado ninguna y una ganamos. Y bueno, y ahora esto, después de varias decepciones, sobre todo ahí en las 2 Copa América, este es un lindo título y se festeja después. Obviamente, el nivel de importancia lo ponen los otros. Para nosotros que somos trabajadores, todos los lugares donde afrontamos un desafío, poder coronarlo con un campeonato es realmente muy bueno.
It's been a while. 2013 with Newell's, won title with Barcelona in 2014. But it's been a lot of disappointments, but this one we won. So we won one, and these are always special moments just to culminate this amazing process that we've had in Atlanta.
Come down here with Alex.
Alex Edmonds from The Athletic. Tata, Atlanta United entered the league doing things differently than any team had done before. Do you think that this victory, just 2 years into the team existing, proves something? And what do you think it proves?
Y Atlanta como un club ha hecho cosas muy diferentes que los otros equipos y crees si eso muestra algo especial de Atlanta.
Bueno, no quisiera comparar absolutamente con ningún otro lugar donde me ha tocado trabajar. Simplemente digo que Atlanta, la organización tenía un proyecto muy claro desde el comienzo, desde las charlas allá por septiembre del 2016. A mí me gustó mucho ese proyecto y ese proyecto a lo largo de los 2 años que me tocó trabajar a mí acá nunca se modificó, al contrario, siempre se respetó y siempre lo llevamos adelante tal cual la primera conversación, y para mí es muy valioso porque cuando una organización tiene un proyecto tan claro, pero además en todo el camino nunca se separa de ese proyecto, es muy probable que las cosas terminen bien.
Yeah, I don't want to compare it to other jobs that I've been at, but this club had a plan from the very beginning, from the first time we spoke in September 2016.
No?
2016?
Yeah.
In Rosario. And the important thing is this club never modified anything from those plans that they had told me. And that's very important. And it's what makes this club very successful, is that the club has had a plan and the directors have followed that plan to a T.
We're going to go here in the middle and then down to Grant Wall and then in the middle to Richard Mendez.
This is Rafael from the three-point conversion. This is for Joseph. Joseph, you had an unbelievable season, won MVP. Talk about the feelings you have, not only capping it off with a win, MLS World Champion or MLS Cup, but also winning the MVP for the MLS Cup.
¿Cómo te sientes de todo, del MVP de este partido y de ganar la Copa?
Creo que estoy más contento de ganar la Copa. Hemos tenido un año increíble. Como lo dije hace rato, tengo que agradecerle a los compañeros porque hemos tenido, más allá de negativos y positivos momentos, cada quien ha aportado y ha dejado todo en el terreno de juego, en el entrenamiento, a nuestra familia, a toda esta gente que nos ha apoyado durante 2 años. Y nada, contento. Y ahora nada, festejarlo porque no todos los días se llega a una final y no todos los días se ganan. Entonces hay que estar contento y agradecerle a Dios todavía.
I'm most happy with the Cup. I think this team has had an incredible year, and I think we just have to say, we have to appreciate the work of everyone this season, the players and the coaching staff, because even though we had some ups and downs as a team, everyone on this team contributed something, and made sacrifices. And this is a win that we want to celebrate because it's been a long year, and thank God also.
Down here with Grant.
This is for Tata, Grant Wall, Sports Illustrated. It's very difficult to do what you've done in just 2 years, starting a team, building a culture in the city, building the championship.
Yeah, you saw those goggles from Joseph Martinez. What do you need those goggles for?
Protection.
Champagne showers. Yes, sir. Get the plastic up. You don't want to ruin those brand new locker rooms here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Chug it down, boys.
Well, that's not champagne, that's Heineken. Those boys are on brand. I respect it.
Not getting the bubbles that they were thinking. They got a little bit of everything in there. That's the moment that you want. From preseason, throughout the entire year, you're playing for that moment. We've talked a little bit while we were watching some of that press conference about MLS 3.0, about Tata Martino, about the fact that they could sign Ezequiel Barco for $15 million and basically park him on the bench. This is not a team that we've seen before in Major League Soccer. So what is the marker that they've laid down for other teams?
Can we repeat that for 1 second?
Yeah.
They spent $15 million on a player
and they
who
missed.
didn't make their first 11, and they still won MLS Cup. Did you ever think you would see the day?
No.
I
mean, it used to be like if you missed on a top 5 draft pick, it would be a disaster. And you look at this team, like you just said, they missed on a $15 million player, and they went out there and they won comfortably. They won comfortably at home against NYCFC. They won comfortably at home against the Red Bulls, and they won comfortably again tonight. That's MLS 3.0, is having that kind of talent base. And, with Atlanta, it did start down in South America, but they were smart about getting guys like Guzan and Parkhurst and Lorenowitz, and Darlington Nagby, who I don't think we've even mentioned his name this week, but once again, very solid. And they kicked over every rock, and they used everything at their disposal to put this roster together, and that's why they won.
Yeah, they didn't miss on much. Maybe one thing, and that was just a transfer fee, to be honest, which is something that Arthur Blank probably didn't even notice. and they've gotten on everything else right. Julian Gressel from the draft, then they go out and get Brad Guzan, then they get the experienced center backs, and Gonzalez Perez, and then in the offseason last year, right, they go get Darlington Nagbe, put him on a private jet from Portland, bring him across. He gave them something a little bit different to be able to stand on the ball, keep possession. Remedi, they go out and strengthen it. Escobar gets the winner. So they really got everything right. Then you add on top of it, the marketing. You see it on the buses around town. This really it wasn't a surprise when you talk to people in town, in here. And now the legacy is actually that there were 73,000 kids in here. Not just kids, but there were a lot of kids in here that now saw this come to life, to fruition, and have something to dream towards as well.
Arthur Blank, in that interview we had with David Goss, he talked about the diversity of the crowd and how it's so multicultural. And beyond that, it's cultural. Atlanta United are part of the culture of Atlanta now in a way that I don't think we see with a lot of other MLS teams around the league. Like these kids, they want to grow up to be Joseph Martinez, and it doesn't matter what part of Atlanta they're from. And that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Like, it feels different.
And we didn't hear
in Atlanta for 48 hours, and he's just dropping dope.
I think you said lit already, though.
Did I?
Yeah,
Well, that's not as cool. That's not as cool. That's old. That's old.
I love it.
And one part of MLS 3.0, and we could talk about whether it might actually be 4.0, but that's for another day, is the idea that when an investor puts money into his MLS team, it doesn't have to be a gift to fans to help them win. It can be an investment opportunity. And if we look at what Arthur Blank is doing, he put 8, 10, we don't exactly know the figure on Miguel Almiron, but he's going to sell him for double that. Ezequiel Barco, he didn't just buy Barco to win MLS Cup. He bought Barco for $15 million to sell him down the line. It's true about Tito Villalba and Joseph Martinez. All of these players are a chance for the ownership to make more money, to reinvest it, and that's part of the new era of Major League Soccer.
I like what you said about culture and it being a part of Atlanta's culture. Well, that's absolutely true for the Portland Timbers as well. Let's be very, very clear about that. The Portland Timbers have that culture. I think they are one of those teams at the forefront. They spend on transfer fees. They're still trying to figure out the academy, maybe some wrinkles there for them. This is a disappointment, but they've won MLS Cup. They've done it in the last 4 years. Timbers Army was a big chunk of the 73,000 fans that were here. They weren't just up in that top rafter. They were spread around, and they were loud. And, yeah, it was disappointing. So now what do they take from this season? We've talked so much about Atlanta United. We cannot ignore the fact that there's another team that made a great run all the way to MLS Cup, fell short, but has a lot to be proud of.
I mean, I think it starts with that. There's a lot to be proud of for the Timbers. They got... that 15-game unbeaten streak, and then they struggled a little bit in the summer, and then they found themselves down the stretch again, and they just got beat by a better team. The worry I have with Portland is Liam Ridgewell's 34, and maybe he's not coming back, and he wasn't good tonight. Larry Smalbiala was a disaster tonight in multiple phases of the game.
We got to say, though, he had that ankle injury.
Yep.
That was the fear.
But why are you playing him?
I agree. That was the fear.
Why are you playing? So you don't know if he's coming back as well. Dairon Asprilla was a key sub in the playoffs. You don't know if he's coming back. Alvis Powell, who's been 4 or 5 years now, you don't know. So it feels like there's some changes that are going to come, and the worry is that Diego Valeri and Diego Chara are both entering their mid-30s. And we saw it, if you just watch the Timbers on TV, you know Diego Chara is really, really good. If you see him in person, you realize the difference between Diego Chara and a league average. If they had a league average defensive midfield in there, they lose this 6-0.
Right.
Diego Chara was awesome.
Yeah.
And if he can't be awesome for 34 games next year, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Similar top-end talent, and from a similar profile as well, as far as going down and getting these Argentine and Colombian players with Sebastian Blanco and Valeri, and then Chara, who you mentioned. He was immense tonight as well. I actually think some of the difference came in the pieces around them, where Atlanta United just had a little bit more quality, whether it was with Brad Guzan in goal or maybe a little bit more experience with Parkhurst and Lorenowitz on the wing. So I think that was the gapping talent between the two, and they just weren't able to quite get out of the shell that they wanted to and get good opportunities on the break. Just the one chance, really, and a couple things maybe late on, but this was always going to be Atlanta United's day. I can't imagine anyone giving them trouble tonight.
2015, you think back to that, it was triumphant for the Timbers. It was triumphant for Liam Ridgewell. Tonight, a different story. Here's what he had to say in the locker room after the match.
Yeah. Anytime you've got 70,000 screaming fans for the home team is difficult. If they come to Providence Park, we'd have many more fans than them, and they don't have 500 fans stuck up in the corner. You wouldn't hear them. You would never hear them. And it would give us one up. I think, yeah, the crowd does give you one up, but look, you know, looking at that and trying to say that is part of why we lost is definitely not. I think we still put on a very good display. We had chances to draw a back and win the game and put our own stamp on it. Just the little things just weren't coming off for us tonight. And you know, like I said, that's just football. It's a good run. It's a good, you know, a very good team. And you know, you never know what the off season might bring. But anytime you get to the MLS Cup final, it shows how good of a team and organisation is, and you look to try and emulate the next season. Yeah, it's difficult because people have just seen you go to the MLS Cup, and we may be considered one of the favourites next year. Probably not, but we might be. And people want to start beating you.
I thought actually that we showed up to play, and we did some very good things. In the first half, we prevented them, you know, from getting a lot of spaces. Some moments we're finding Almiron in between the lines, but then we closed it. I thought we were, you know, very good in many of the occasions in the first half to make sure that we kept the ball where we wanted. And we were a little bit more courageous in the second half to make sure that we brought the game closer to the goal, and we were a little bit unfortunate. I think the momentum was killed by the referee in the foul that wasn't a foul, because I thought that the second half we were doing very well, and I thought that was pretty even we had more momentum going forward, and that second goal was tough for us to digest.
Giovanni Savarese is unhappy about the refereeing here. Does he have a point? Do you see what he's saying?
I thought he called like Alan Kelly always lets him play, and you knew that was going to go double in a cup final. I thought he called the game the same way for both sides, and if any, like the biggest call of the game was the non-penalty on Joseph. When I thought it was both a penalty and a dive. So I think you could have given them both, but like I was fine with the way it was ref.
There's a bit of a question whether Mabiala committed the foul that led to the Escobar goal, but we just have to remember what the head coach's role is in this moment. He gives Atlanta credit, but he also needs to deflect a little bit. You also need to give your players a reason to think about anything other than losing, so they go into next year and say, we're good enough to be MLS champs. If the referee hadn't been poor on that day, we could have raised a trophy. So I totally understand where Savarese is coming from.
You understand the emotion, but you know this game was decided on the field. And by Atlanta United. But I think you should also give Savarese credit, because as a first-year head coach in MLS, he's done a fantastic job with this group. We've sung Tata Martino's praises, but Savarese had his team ready to play.
Mostly, but to me, anytime Atlanta pressed them in the first half, they actually didn't look ready for it. And like this one, trying to play out through the press right up the middle. Now, I understand Obobisi has to do a lot better on that play right there. But, again, ragged, Mabiala behind the play, keeping Joseph off. They didn't look focused in the way that I wanted them to and prepared for that press.
I don't know what a coach can do for a game plan when a striker lets his first touch go 10 yards off his foot.
That's fair.
Tough moment there for Obobisi and the Portland Timbers. Let's talk CCL, because that is the next step. We celebrate Atlanta's title. They knew that they were going to the CONCACAF Champions League. We do not know now what will happen this offseason with them, but we do know that they will be one of the favorites. I think that is undoubted next year going into CCL. What do you make of their chances? Could they follow up MLS Cup with the trophy that MLS teams have never won, ever, never, ever?
Well, you're the one who thinks they're the best team in MLS history, so you tell us.
I didn't say that.
I think there's a big challenge for them to be able to do that, just because there's so many big question marks as far as the next manager or the next signing. And, you know, if it is PT Martinez, that would be a big one. You know, and if it is Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, that is a big one. I have no doubt that Atlanta United will go out and make those big signings. But how it gels early in the season, we've seen the extra added pressure it puts on teams like TFC, and adding these extra fixtures to a season, how that can affect a group. So I think there's still some big question marks, especially when you look towards CCL, because I think that favors teams that have been together a little longer.
I'm a little bit more confident than you are, because if I look at the three characteristics that seem to be particularly important in CCL if we looked at what Toronto did last year. The first is experience in those types of games. And you're right, they don't have it as a team, but if I just look at the players on that team and where they played previously in the career, I don't think that they'd be phased going down to those teams in Mexico, going down to Saprissa in Costa Rica. The second piece would be the ability to win hard games, what we saw in the playoffs, playing a 5-3-2, saying, screw it, we don't have to play today, let's find a way to get a result. And the third is star players. If you look at Toronto's run, they got saved a few times by Giovinco, and Atlanta has a couple guys that can do that.
You think this is Atlanta's identity now, a deep block 5-3-2 team? And I know they weren't especially deep tonight, but I think at this point they'd prefer to play that way, right?
But the nice thing about that is it doesn't have to be their identity in every game. It can be it in the right games for that situation. Right. And the other times when you go against a team that you expect to beat, you can go out and wipe the floor with people, which is the talent that they have.
I want to actually have a very definitive answer to that, Matt. And the answer is no. Because the reason 70,000 people showed up here, the reason they get 50,000 every single week is because they don't do that. And they have a product that goes beyond winning. And they are exciting. And they are dominant to watch. And they are just fun. So I actually do think they might be able to go 34-0 if they played that way. But it would not be the best thing for the franchise.
All right, Darren Eales would probably like that. He helped build this team. Let's go hear what he has to say about the MLS Cup championship.
Darren, it happened. This is the team to bring a championship to the city of Atlanta. When that buzzer went off and 73,000 plus roared, what went through your head?
It was a bit of a feeling of relief because I've been hearing all week about the Atlanta curse. And look, you know, everybody, the whole organization, the players, the coaching staff, you know, the associates, but really for the fans. I mean, it's pretty incredible week in and week out, the number of fans we've had right from day one. So I was just so pleased that we could win a trophy for the fans because I think it's going to be one heck of a party over the next couple of days.
To be able to construct a team so quickly, to have this kind of success, what allowed this success to come about?
Look, I think there's a lot of things, you know, credit goes to Arthur Blanc, our owner, because he brought me in 4 years ago and gave me that, you know, almost a 2-year runway to put the team together. And I think we did a great job on the balance of the experienced players like the Michael Parkhurst and the Jeff Laurentowicz, the draft picks like a Julian Gressel and a Miles Robinson, and then, you know, obviously Joseph Martinez, Miguel Almiron, Tito Villalba. You know, I think we got more right than wrong. And look, Tata as a coach just did an amazing job. So couldn't be more happy with the way that the team played this second season. And look, you need some luck. Portland are a fantastic team, but today we had those breaks when it counted, and you know, fortunately we got the win.
And you mentioned Tata Martino. What will his mark be as this club's first ever manager?
Well, look, I mean, firstly, we've scored 70 goals the first 2 seasons, so we always wanted to play an attractive style, and a lot of people say that, but it's very hard to deliver. But he delivered on that with an attractive style of play, but he's also given us a championship in our second season. And I think we saw, you know, looking back now, and it's easy to say it now, but the Toronto loss was what really, I think, galvanized the squad because it just changed our mentality in the playoffs. We're a little bit more pragmatic, but, you know, that's what good coaches do, and we won the title. And look, now we've got a chance to party and celebrate with Atlanta, and it's going to just be amazing.
Yeah, Julian Gressel called that a wake-up call, and everyone said if Atlanta goes on to win MLS Cup, no one will remember the Supporters Shield. And now that you've won MLS Cup, what kind of celebrations can we expect? What is going to go on here in Atlanta?
Well, I mean, I love America because you have the playoffs, so it's great. If it had been England, would have been depressed at losing Toronto, and that would have been it. So, you know, hurrah for the playoffs. And no, I mean, look, it's going to be a party. We'll be going out tonight, and then I know the mayor's here and they're talking about the parade, but this city's been dying for a parade since '95, so it should be something pretty special.
All right, we'll see you there, Darren. Thank you so much, guys.
Hay que disfrutarlo y esperemos verlos pronto.
It's been a special week for me. Before the game, I had a moment with Miguel, and I just thanked him for all the help that he's given me over these 2 seasons. And I told him, please make me a champion today, because I've never been a champion before. And so I want to thank him for that. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody, the coaching staff, the players, the fans, the city, because I know it's been a long time since they've had a championship, and we think they deserve it. And, you know, when Tata called me on the phone the first time and laid forth his plans, I was in agreement with everything. So I'm thankful for this time that I've had with him, and even when he's gotten mad at me on a few occasions. But just really grateful, and now it's time to enjoy this.
Jordan?
Please make me a champion. That's what Joseph Martinez said to Miguel Almiron. We know where his MVP vote went, Joseph Martinez. It went to his teammate, Miguel Almiron. He said as much on the Players' Tribune. This is a moment for teammates that will go through history. They will always remember this moment, and Miggy and Joseph will always be linked. It looks like they're going to be unlinked, that no longer will they be teammates. What has this partnership meant for Major League Soccer?
Not just on the field, guys, but isn't it nice that they just feel like close friends? So often in the history of sports, and you could think back to Steve Young, and Jerry Rice to Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, some of the most iconic duos, it didn't feel like they were as close and had the symmetry that Joseph and Almiron has, and it feels good to see that beyond sport.
Totally different personalities, too, because Martinez is more of the ruthless killer. He wants to finish the ball every time. And Almiron, he's happy to play provider and go celebrate and do the Dragon Ball Z celebration with his buddy, you know. But I think, you know, we've gone back and forth over who's more valuable, who's more important. They both are. That's the real answer, and they're better together, you know. Martinez has done something we've never seen before, and Almiron is a type of player in MLS that I've never seen. Like I said, we haven't seen the best of him yet, and we've seen him grow and improve. I mean, he just had that one little play to me where he's on the sideline, he just kind of like flicks it up and over a guy. He just never seems rushed, and that's at standstill. And then when he goes at pace, he has the control at speed that I haven't seen since the likes of maybe Landon Donovan.
Yeah.
To be able to control the ball at top end speed. And Almiron's pace might be a little bit faster.
This is the sort of player that we want to see in the future in Major League Soccer. We are starting to see it more and more as the salary cap, as TAM increases. So let's jump ahead. Let's get a little irresponsible here, perhaps, and make some predictions.
Now you're speaking my
about
language.
2019. Who's making the biggest splash this offseason? Because there's no time to waste. That transfer window opens very soon. Doyle, start us.
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to say Atlanta United. They're going to sell Miguel Almiron, and they might sell Julian Gressel. If there's interest in him, they might sell Joseph Martinez. They might have a bunch of guys who are attracting interest overseas, but you know they're going to lose their number 10, and that means they're going to have to replace him with a big money signing. I think it'll be P.T. Martinez, and I think they're going to get Guillermo Barros-Schelotto as their head coach. Those are two pretty big splashes.
They also might not sell these guys because if you are Atlanta United, you don't need the money, right?
Yeah.
This isn't something where it's like, oh, well, we have to reinvest in the academy. Like, we've been out to the facilities. It doesn't look like they're hurting for cash right now, right? So they might be able to hold on to some of these guys and say, you know what, we're getting $73,000. The return on our investment, what we lose might be more than what we would gain from this sale. So I think you're right, though. I think they will go out, replace Almiron, but it'll be one maybe big piece like Martinez and one big manager to be able to keep this nucleus of the group going forward.
Ooh, so we have to go back to the beginning of the show and the point that I made saying there's teams around this league saying, what do we do to keep up? And one team more than any other, Toronto FC. They won MLS Cup last year. They almost won CCL. They have both the means and the ambition to try and take that trophy back. And I suspect that they watched this playoff run and said, I don't think we have the players to keep up right now. And yes, they've got 3 DP spots that are taken. But if you watch Toronto this year, they were not the same team. So I would not be surprised to see Toronto find a way to change their roster around to make a big splash to get back in this.
By the way, Toronto FC might be doing some selling as well. If you look at some of the players at the top, there's some contract issues. Jovinko wants a new one. Josie Altidore is coming up. We'll see what happens with them. What I do know is that January is going to be very interesting, and I'm with you guys. It's Atlanta United. Coach, number 10, Sales. They've got the money. They've got the ambition. They're going to make a splash. But will they repeat? We're going there. MLS Cup predictions.
Oh, wow.
Way too early, a year in advance.
No one will remember this. We're good. Yeah.
Who you got, Doyle?
DC United. We're going back to the beginning of MLS. I loved the way they played down the stretch, and granted, they didn't get it done in the playoffs, and you don't know if Wayne Rooney is going to have another year left in his legs, but he sure looked good when he got here. I love the balance of this team. I think Ben Olsen is getting better every year as a head coach. I think DC United is going to shock some people and win their 5th MLS Cup title.
They're going to make a splash
in 2019.
in the transfer window, by the way. They will probably make a splash as well. Bobby, who you got?
Russell Canales, MVP 2019.
Oh, get it started.
He's
get
no
that,
David Accam.
Get that narrative train rolling.
So I want to start off by saying I don't like this segment. I tried to veto it. But I will say Toronto FC for 2019 MLS Cup champion. Guys, they're the only ones that can keep up. It's either Atlanta or Toronto or maybe an LAFC who can spend the money.
The Red Bulls beat Atlanta 3 out of 4 times this year.
Are they going to be able to replace Tyler Adams?
They're 4-1-1. They like Caceres a lot. We asked, are they going to be able to replace Dax McCarty? Are they going to be able to replace Sasha
It's not about
Kljestan?
replacing. It's about the parts that they needed that they haven't gone out and got
I agree
to
with
be
that.
dangerous in the attack.
I agree, but like they were a different team before Florian Velo got hurt. And we're all saying, oh, Florian Velo is no X, no Y, no Z. But he's the same type of player as Julian Gressel. What would Atlanta have been if Julian Gressel got hurt? You know, so I think the Red Bulls are closer than Bobby does. But I agree, they do need to make one more big signing.
Kalen, MLS Cup, I see you thinking hard down there.
I was, yeah. I mean, a part of me just, I couldn't help but watch tonight and think a little bit about LAFC and the expansion team. And we talked about how Atlanta United sort of changed the mold of how you become an expansion team, how you build your team. LAFC, if you're watching this, you're saying, we could probably do this a year or two, because similar story in the playoffs. They played that knockout round game. Atlanta United lost the knockout round game at home against Columbus Crew SC. LAFC do the same thing with Real Salt Lake. So if they retool, they don't have the World Cup where Carlos Vela can do it. But, you know, with all that said, I'm going Seattle Sounders.
What?
I'm sorry. I gotta go
Come on.
Sounders. I know I was
Come
like
on.
making the case for LAFC, but the Sounders are going to be my team. I picked them to win MLS Cup this year. A full season of Rui Diaz. Guys, give me a second here. And then here's the other part. Jordan Morris.
Yeah.
He signs a new contract. He'll be back. They lacked a little bit of his pace and behind in a different rhythm. So I'm going with Seattle Sounders. I know that's going to be double heartbreak for the Portland Timbers.
Ladero might be the best 10 in the league
Might
left
be.
with Almiron gone. I was grinding my teeth over here. I was getting pretty upset because my pick was LAFC, and I was like, I know you didn't pick them. I know you didn't pick them. You look back at the last couple of those Cups, it has been dominated by the Eastern Conference. You can say Seattle in 2016, but they didn't even put a shot on goal. Eastern Conference, I think, is going to beat up on each other all year long. There's going to be an arms race there. LAFC becomes the class of the West. They'll have a little bit easier path through the playoffs. Maybe if they use that schedule their advantage and get home field advantage, they'll be the ones to lift it. Bob Bradley knows how to get it done early on in a club's lifespan.
You had the courage that I didn't have, man.
Yeah, but you gave me my whole argument. I was like, now what am I going to say? I'm going to look like a copycat.
Let me ask you this. You need a rock defensive midfielder to win MLS Cup, and Eric Remedi was that tonight.
And I can't come out of retirement.
And Bobby's done. Bobby's done. His hip is bad. All right. Who is that for LAFC?
That's a good question. They just re-signed Mark Anthony Kaye, but they go back to the drawing board because it doesn't look like Benny Feilhaber's coming back. You have Lee Wynn. He's not that guy. They go spin. Maybe they see this. They decide they've got to get that spot as well. We will see what happens. What we do know is that the 23rd MLS Cup and the 23rd MLS season have ended with Atlanta United as MLS Cup champions, lifting the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy. The party is going on somewhere out here, somewhere in Atlanta. It's going to be an epic night, and Monday is going to be incredible as well. All the coverage on MLSsoccer.com. Post-game, parade. Tuesday's the expansion draft. I mean, it never ends.
The PA's got to bring us some goggles, man. We're about to get
We're going down there?
Yeah, let's
go.
do it.
Let's get down
Joseph
there.
All right. Me and Joseph are tight.
Thank you so much to everyone who has followed our coverage here in the Audi 2018 MLS Cup playoffs. From Audi Playoff Central to MLS Cup Central, this week has been amazing. This season has been the most special that I have experienced in Major League Soccer. I hope it was the same for you. For our producer, Chris Karen, for Matt Doyle, Bobby Warshaw, Kaylin Carr, Susanna Collins, Jillian Sakovitz, David Goss, everyone who puts in long hours to make these shows happen. And for Andrew Wiebe, congratulations to Atlanta United.
Did you just third person yourself?
You
out of this broadcast?
You are exactly right. I just did. It's time to go, folks. Have a great night.
Matt Doyle says it's time to go.